Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with morsels of a thought number 1500. And I get to celebrate it with Ken Ashby and Maris Segal. Segal. Got it. Got it. Segal. The R Factor. Evolving Our Human Relationships Story. It's a national bestseller. Discover the universal rhythms for leading prosperous relationships. I have to bring up this card. In the rhythm of respect, we show up and we're present. We listen. We build trust and lead with compassion and authenticity. In the rhythm of responsibility, we are intentional, we are committed, we communicate clearly, and we stand accountable for our actions. That's responsibility. In the rhythm of reframing, we lead with gratitude. We accept the traumas of our past without letting them limit us. We meet people where they are and honor feedback. That was reframing. In the rhythm of resilience, we stand up and step forward with consistent action and accept support to courageously face and navigate inevitable change. In the rhythm of respect, which was the first one, we show up and we're present, we listen, we build trust, and lead with compassion and authenticity. The first one is respect. Wallet with wallet wisdom, the R Factor, www.segalleadershipglobal.com, SEGAL leadershipglobal.com. One word. So, America's Master Connectors have workshops, coaching, books, mentoring, speaking, and team building. The R Factor. Ken-Maris at segalleadershipglobal.com. And they even have a code. I'm not sure if I can get it so that you can see it or catch it. Let's see. Wonder if it'll. Oh, here. There we go. Of course, I have to hold it still, but I can only do that by... Okay, anyway, that's what we have. That is what we have. I'll put it here. And this is so cute. I'm on page 156. We're starting on page 154. Whenever she revisited the universal relationship rhythms, she found that there was some nugget that she'd overlooked. To her surprise, it was also something that she needed to hear at that specific time, a coincidence she couldn't deny. It was a best-selling book for a reason. The authors had pulled together some profound life principles and revealed that every area of life required rhythm in order to thrive. There were chapters that discussed the relationships people have with others, such as family members, friends, and coworkers, and the relationships they have with their career, their health, their finances, and even the environment. Even more important was the relationship people have with themselves. Like the book said, if one is out of rhythm if one is out of rhythm in any area of their life, it will affect all areas of their life. And that's precisely what had happened when she lost her vision. Her home life was out of rhythm with her work life. Her professional life was way out of rhythm with her non-existent personal life. And the rhythm was thrown so far off that each nut and bolt that had held her life together came loose. On this night, she turned to the end of the book and the section entitled Renewal, and she felt like the words were being spoken directly to her. Life is a series of endings and beginnings. There is a tendency to get so lost in the past that it becomes impossible to envision a brighter future. Rather than mourn or regret what once was, look upon the past as a period of growth, like the passing seasons. Change is inevitable. Embrace the changes before you and look to them as a time of renewal. This is an opportunity for every area of your life to sync together in perfect rhythm. Let's try that again. Embrace the changes before you and look to them as a time of renewal. This is an opportunity for every area of your life to sync together in perfect rhythm while creating harmony in your relationship to yourself and the world around you. That was precisely where Mindy felt she was in her life. She read that out of the book. She needed to step out of her comfort zone and make a decision about how to move forward. But unlike she'd done in the past, this time she knew the importance of strengthening relationships in all areas of her life instead of avoiding them. On one hand, it was a scary proposition. On the other, though, it was exciting to consider what could be. The entertainment industry is what she knew best, and she felt she had a strong professional relationship with the industry as a whole, even though she'd avoided establishing personal relationships within it. Like Dr. Patel had said, every career and industry provided an opportunity to make a difference, and Mindy was beginning to believe that. After all, music was a universal language. It was so much more than filling concert halls and stadiums. She had been she'd had seen and experienced one aspect of music in the past, but she knew it held untouched potential she'd never before considered. Knowing this was her season of renewal. Mindy had a dream to create a concert that would make all the concerts she'd promoted pale in comparison. It would be a concert that would relate to the people and the causes, hopes, and dreams that were important to them. It would promote a message that would benefit people from all walks of life and, even more, give back to them by raising funds to fight hunger and abuse, support wellness and mental health, and the many other causes and missions that impact people's lives. She knew the vision for her business required widespread collaboration, input, and assistance. There were many spinning wheels that had to be set in motion. Publishers, agents, and artists were just the tip of the iceberg. Based on her business experience as a concert producer, she knew she'd be doomed to failure if she went into this venture in a business as usual mode. For the first time, she was more prepared to relinquish some of her control, delegate responsibilities, and rely on a large network of people to connect and collaborate to bring it all together. Rich was also at a crossroads. While being a stockbroker provided him with financial security and the flexibility to enjoy songwriting, travel, and his family, it wasn't his passion. He didn't relate to his career, not in the same way that he related to his songs. And as he became a more observant songwriter, he was able to inject more of his emotions into his music. Like Mindy, he was entertaining doing something different with his life. Every time he considered his options, it was music that called his name. It made sense to Rich, yet it made sense to Rich. After all, his relationship with music was the only one he had held dear outside of his relationship with his father and now his siblings. Yet he wondered why he was being pulled in a different direction. Yes, he'd grown as a songwriter and he'd stood in his responsibility to repair the frayed relationships with his brother and sister, but he couldn't help but feel there was something more purposeful calling him. Then it hit him. It was his mother. Her absence in his life had left him reluctant to get close to people for fear that they, too, would one day be gone, leaving him alone, confused, feeling abandoned, and unable to move on. But now that he knew that he had answers, Rich found he was able to unplug from the past, let others in, and begin to see possibilities for the future. He could accept criticism, not taking it personally, and, most of all, without believing that critical feedback meant someone didn't like him and caused them to walk out of his life, like his mom had done decades before. That's why Rich's motives had always been ego-driven. He hadn't received the approval and praise from his mother that he longed for. To compensate, his ego needed reinforcement and validation that he was worthy, that his songs were worthy. He was visiting his dad at Terry's house when he received an unexpected phone call from Mindy on a Sunday morning. Actually, he was standing at the sink helping his sister rinse breakfast dishes when the call came in. Seeing her name on the screen, he looked at his sister and said, "Hey, sorry, Ter, mind if I take this? It's Mindy." "Oh, I get it. Payback for all those years you helped Dad do the dishes while Tim and I got to watch TV," she playfully replied, pretending to snap a dish towel in his direction. "You got it, sis. Have fun," Rich grinned and walking away, phone in hand. "Hi, Mindy," he answered cheerfully. "Hi, Rich. Is this a bad time?" she asked. "No, actually, it's a great time," he smiled to himself as he recalled his exchange with his sister. "What's up?" "Well, I had a business idea and I thought I'd reach out. Rich, do you remember the entrepreneurial workshop we both attended when they touched on not-for-profits?" "I sure do. As a matter of fact, I still have the materials they gave us," he replied. "I have to admit that I didn't pay close attention to some parts because they didn't pertain to me at the time," Mindy advised. They did discuss different types of businesses like LLCs and nonprofit organizations. "What is it you want to know?" he asked. At first, Mindy hesitated to share her idea with Rich. Then she once again felt a strong sense of the trust that they had established at the workshop. Knowing it was impossible to get the assistance she wanted without fully disclosing her idea, she leaned into that trust and told him all about her vision. When she finished, Rich seemed to love the idea just as much as she did. "What an awesome idea! Oh, Mindy, this could be big!" he exclaimed. "Think of the big names you could get on board. I mean, you do have the connections, and if you can get some of the top artists and bands on board, there's no telling how big this could be." "I wish I had your confidence, Rich. There are just so many moving pieces. I've never owned a business, and in the past, I've always been focused on producing for profits. This is foreign territory, and I'm going to need a lot of advice and help to make it happen," she said. "Mindy, this is a bold vision and it will happen. I'll be happy to introduce you to some people who have expertise in business who would be happy to assist," he offered. Before their call ended, Rich offered Mindy an invitation. "Mindy, I'm working on a new song. Want to hear it?" "Absolutely," Mindy exclaimed. Rich began reading in rhythm. "Each of us can stand for something good. Every time we rise, we elevate the place we live. We expand our souls by what we give. Tomorrow is not up to someone else. The hope you have is hope that you can trust. The truth is that the future is up to each of us. Each of us can build, each of us can teach, and reach inside we can guide, and what we leave is up to each of us." Wow, Rich, that is so powerful. It correlates perfectly with what we've been talking about. Your words couldn't have come at a better time, Mindy said, a happy tear welling in the corner of her eye. Looking back to when their journey started, this was a real turning point in their relationship as friends. When Mindy approached Rich with her idea, she believed he had something to contribute, but at the time she didn't know just how valuable his assistance would be. Since they had reconnected at the workshop, she reached out to him several times when she had a thought or an idea, and she found that they were often on the same page. And even when they weren't, they responded with respect and went to work with to reframe the approach for a new solution. With the exception of her parents and best friend, Jamie, Mindy didn't have much experience with that type of personal relationship, one that was mutually beneficial based on respect and responsibility, and one where both parties were equally inspired to achieve a common goal. And that inspired Mindy to discover the depths of what one executive producer and one songwriter could create together. If anyone had told her the year before that she would be at risk of losing her vision, leave her job, and be working alongside Rich, she would have told them they were crazy. Yet here she was, a single mother without a job, boldly starting a venture with someone who had been at total odds with her not too long before. Maybe it was crazy, but it was also inspiring. If they could make this dream a reality, they would not only be able to make a positive impact on the lives of many, but they'd alter their lives and relationship forever. Like the book had told her, there is a rhythm to relationships. They have their ups and downs. There is a hook that pulls them together and a harmony that lets them express their individuality without breaking their bond. And there is always a bridge, the cords that carry them from one stage to another. It all made sense now, and she could see clearly how she had pushed such relationships away, fearing that fearing that letting anyone in would make her vulnerable to the pain she'd experienced in her marriage. The realization was like a new beginning, knowing that she didn't always have to have all the answers. She didn't have to always be the strong one. She could give herself permission to feel. That was one of the most transformational thoughts she'd had in years. Good morning, Mandy Olekshi. This is live, actually. You're on live. You're here, and it's not a replay. Yay! Renewal and rhythms, she thought, was what she wanted her company to be about. Using music to inspire others to feel, to contribute, to make a difference in a world where she knew she had once been guilty of indifference. It would be about new beginnings in friendships, families, communities, and she even dared to think the world. It was with those thoughts that the name of her not for profit company was born. The R Factor, the universal rhythms of life. So, we're on chapter 15, Vision. This is starting to sound. What do you think? The R factor, the universal rhythms of life. I wonder. It could be that Mindy is actually Maris Segal and Rich is actually Ken Ashby. It could be. What do you think? I'm thinking it's possibly true. Goodness gracious. Wow. There are several more chapters. I want to read. Um, I had no idea. Oh my gosh, there are people I know in these acknowledgments. For goodness sake. For goodness sake. Uh, I'm sorry, I'm not reading to you what I'm looking at. So they have about the authors at the end, they have acknowledgments, and there is a song written by Ken Ashby, and there is, wow, Universal Relationship Rhythms. There is chapter 15, Vision. We are all connected as humans first, and that's where the bottom line begins. The sold-out concert was set against the magnificent sandstone that comprised the red rock formations surrounding the natural amphitheater just outside Denver. Although Mindy was no stranger to Red Rocks Park and amphitheater, on this night it took her breath away. So much planning and preparation had gone into manifesting her vision, and Mindy's mind was telling her that her company's success or failure would be determined tonight. Standing in the wings, awaiting the moment Mindy would introduce the concert, Rich sensed her anxiety and he took Mindy's hand to give it an encouraging squeeze. It's going to be great. How can it not be? After all, you've got the best production company and concert team all trained by you. And look at the bands on board. Have you managed to get some of the biggest names to perform for free? How you managed to get some of the biggest names to perform for free, I'll never know, he said. What's really interesting is I'm starting to realize, as you are, that Ken Ashby and Mare Segal are exactly the characters in the book, Rich and Mindy. Mindy is a great name. I love that name. I used to think I would want to change my name to Mindy. I thought I'd use that as a stage name at one point. We'll go into the rest of this next week. Um, I'm thinking. One of my biggest ahas in bringing this vision to life is understanding that the power of connected relationships is a significant asset, Mindy admitted. I am so grateful that our relationship has evolved, Rich. I couldn't have done this without you, and I can't begin to thank you enough. Oh, yes, you can. As a matter of fact, you already have, he replied. I can't wait to hear your song performed against these acoustics, Rich. And I didn't do anything really. There are many artists who have expressed interest in recording your song. Each of us is so cool that all the bands on the ticket will be performing it together tonight. Now, that's amazing. That was a point Rich couldn't argue. It was a milestone beyond his wildest imagination. For a brief moment, he allowed his pride and ego to celebrate his success, but it was passing. While he believed while he believed in this song like no other, his intentions were no longer about climbing to the top of the charts. Instead, he had a larger dream. Rich's vision was now to use his songs to spread a universal message of hope and healing, a message that every voice and every dream could be possible if we realize that we are all connected as humans on this planet we call home. Okay, so we have more next week. I am going to um, just reiterate that I hope that you have a wonderful day. I think that this is all good morsels of a thought, wisdom. Knowing what to do is a part of wisdom, is a, a part of wisdom, portion of wisdom. And actually doing it is called virtue. So when I bring morsels of a thought into the world every single day, I hope that we bring virtue as well when we decide to do what we know is right to do. For each person, it's different. For me, it's different than for you. And I hope that you find this entertaining and that we impart a little bit of something that we can give to others here. This is wonderful. I want to talk more about relationships next week when we come back to Ken Ashby and Maris Segal in the R Factor, evolving our human relationship story. And I'll see you later. Okay? Old Kinderheck.